He was the most useful shadow of the Cooper family, Sal Cooper, but he was framed by his brother and ordered to be executed. He wasn't one to take it lying down, he too retaliated, but before he could, a spear pierced him from behind. Once the spear was removed, he jumped at the family head again, promising to rip them all to shreds, but then he suddenly woke up from his sleep. He quickly jumped up into guard. He wondered why the place looked so familiar. Just then a bucket full of water fell onto his head. The maid who poured water onto him told him to quickly clean himself. When he glared at her, she slapped him and told him to mind his position and not to dare defy her. He wondered how he fell just from a slap. When he looked at the reflection on the water, everything clicked into place. He started laughing. All the measures he took to make sure this happened were worth it. He was back, reborn as himself when he was 3 years old. He used to be a shadow that went through the Cooper family's cruelest training since he could walk, trained to carry out murder, arson, espionage, and any hidden dirty work for the family. They were promised endless riches and glory as a reward. Thus, the shadows willingly endured all the hardships. Sal was the illegitimate son of the family, and he was determined to change his fate of getting bullied by others. He lacked talent, but always trained to death to make up for it, yet he was neglected. So he decided to take the initiative to fight for the family. To fulfill his orders, he beheaded enemies and laid waste to cities. In the end, after countless slaughters, he brought victory for the family, and as a reward, he was framed by his half-brother and the heir to the family. His brother revealed that the day Sal became his shadow, he cast a curse on Sal. He said that the strength Sal had been working his ass off for, and the growth he was working hard for, were all being continuously transferred to him, while all the injuries he received were transferred to Sal to suffer, and that the money and glory promised to the shadows were all just to entice dirty half-bloods like him. Sal used every bit of his strength on his last attack. Unbeknownst to the heir of the family, Sal used blood magic to take back all the powers that were stolen from him, but his life also reached its end as soon as he got his powers back. But now that he's back, he can take down his brother before the curse is placed on him. All the anger riling him only made him hungry. He noticed a rat chilling in the corner of the room. Emergency sustenance acquired, he thought. In the battlefields of his past life, he had discovered that rats were much more delicious than humans. Just before he had a chance to catch the rat, 2 guards came in. They ordered him to follow them. They grabbed him by both arms and started dragging him out. He bit the guard's hand, and as soon as one of them let go, he grabbed on to bite the other. The guards tried to beat him up. He dodged the guard and went straight to grab the guard's weapon. As soon as he got a hold of it, he cut off the guard's arm with one swift motion. The other jumped back in fear after seeing his colleague's arm fly off. He then gave an evil grin after realizing that he had the perfect plan for his revenge. The curse that was placed on him in his past life, where the caster, who was the master of the curse, only needed to pay the price of a small amount of blood to make the target his shadow, made shadows unable to harm the master and forced them to suffer the injuries sustained by the master in their place. The growth in their abilities would be transferred to their master. Due to its cruel nature, the Empire had issued orders to destroy all grimoires that recorded this curse 100 years ago. Back in the present, the family heir, Alan, called the guards trash for being bullied by a 3-year-old wildling. He walked up to Sal, asking how Sal dared to touch his underling. Alan asked the guards to throw Sal into a dungeon, but then a woman stopped him. She explained to Alan that Sal didn't have anyone to look after him since he was a baby, and that it was normal for him to act a little crazy. It was Alan's mother and the matriarch of the Cooper family, Hera Cooper. She also said that it wasn't the time to be punishing, and they had to prepare the oath-taking ceremony. She told him not to forget what she told him and what they had to accomplish. Alan agreed to his mother. She then said that she would take all the people outside so he could perform his duties as the future family head. She told the butler to clear the place out except for Alan, and told the mages to cast a soundproofing spell on the whole room and to guard the room from outside. He poured holy water into a glass and raised it up while telling all the kids that they would be members of the Shadow Army from that day forward, and asked them to make an oath. The kids started repeating the oath as they were taught, all except Sal. Then he told them all to drink the holy water. As soon as they did, they all fell unconscious. Alan pulled out his knife while calling the kids fools for not noticing the difference between drugged water and holy water. He dropped a drop of his blood on the floor, and a strange spell awakened while he laughed about how all these foolish kids would provide him their strengths while they took on all the harm he sustained. He told them all to suffer. The spell started to take effect. Thorns of magic stuck to all the kids as their power started to enter Alan's body. He started praising himself as a genius and quickly tried to go out to tell his lady mother about the success of the spell. While he was talking, he suddenly lost balance and fell to the ground. He couldn't move his legs and wondered if it was a side effect his mother forgot to tell him about. He started to cry for his mother. Sal said that Alan was always a coward hiding behind his mother's back, and unfortunately for Alan, his mother ordered a soundproofing spell, and no matter how much he cried, his mother wouldn't hear him. Sal stood behind Alan menacingly. Alan asked how Sal was awake and what happened to the oath. Sal said that it was too early to be scared, as he was about to reverse the oath in his favor. He drove his sword into the ground to interfere with the spell. Alan immediately noticed his heart hurting and begged Sal to stop. Sal didn't give a damn. He remembered everything that he had to go through and told Alan that he was simply returning the favor. The spell inside shattered, and they heard Alan screaming as his mother ran in. Later that day, the butler assured that Alan was fine and that he just fainted temporarily because of using too much power, and that the soundproofing broke because one of the mages got distracted while casting the spell. He assured that the mage was sent to be executed. The matriarch told the butler to feed the incompetent mage's corpse to the dogs. The butler then tells her that Alan seems unsettled after the ceremony and that it might burden his heart. Alan couldn't remember what happened inside the room anymore. His mother places a hand on his head and says that there was no reason to feel bad for the shadows, as the strong were meant to prey on the weak. He pushes her hand away and says that he never once worried about the wretched creatures born just to sacrifice their lives for him. She hugs him while saying that she expected as much from her son and asks what reward he wanted. Sal was outside the window listening in to the psychopaths. Unbeknownst to them, Sal had reversed the curse to make Alan his shadow. In his past life, Alan used to present countless treasures to the family in order to stay relevant, but that didn't end well for him. But right now, he was far too weak to resist the family, and the perfect opportunity to get a little stronger was coming: the Flaming Cliff. It was a testing ground for the Cooper family. The Cooper family would send a group of children below 10 years of age to the Flaming Cliff and order them to trek through the land commanded by eagles who would gnaw on their flesh. They either reached the top or died trying, and once they reached the top, they needed to obtain the blessing of the griffin, the blessing of regeneration. The instructor tells the children that they only have 3 days to finish. There were no other rules, regardless of what methods they used. They just needed to reach the top alive. He tells them not to forget that deserters will be sentenced to death as well. He then lifts his whistle and blows it, and all the kids start running to the mountain. Sal quietly walks slowly. The guard tells the instructor that the boy was the one who angered Alan. Sal starts climbing the steep mountain while the others all take the easier, longer route. The guards laugh at him, saying that he was probably going to fall halfway due to his lack of training. The guard asks if he should prepare to collect his corpse. The instructor says that there is no need and that he has an interesting idea. A few hours later, all the kids notice a loud noise above them. It was a griffin. Unable to fight against the large monster, they all get wiped out. When Sal reached the cliff where the griffin was, the instructor pulls out his bow and says that this will make Alan very happy when he hears it. While aiming at the griffin, the arrow flies past the griffin's head from the direction where Sal was hiding. Once it notices Sal, it jumps at him. Sal jumps past and onto the griffin and drives his swords into its head. The wound was too shallow. He runs at the griffin to take it down, but the griffin starts using wind magic and Sal gets pushed back. He barely grabs the cliff. Sal had overestimated his own strength, but all he needed to do was get to the cave. While the griffin used its wind magic again, Sal bolts toward the cave while dodging all the wind attacks. While dodging, he remembered that he didn't need to dodge. He jumps into the air in front of the cave, and the wind attack hits him directly, pushing him into the cave. Meanwhile, Alan suddenly falls unconscious. Sal, who successfully lands inside the cave, runs all the way inside. The griffin follows him in a panic, but stops without attacking Sal. Sal had taken a small griffin as a hostage. Sal knew that the griffin's offspring was born with a broken wing. The griffin tells Sal to let go of his kid. Sal says that he wants to make a deal and that he would help fix the little griffin's wings in return. Outside, the instructors go in to collect the corpses, thinking that Sal might already be dead. Then the griffin appears behind them with Sal on its back. Sal tells the griffin to send both of them to hell. The griffin doesn't waste any time to end them both. The griffin tells Sal that he now has to fulfill his end of the deal, and Sal asks the griffin to take him to the northernmost part of the mountain range. They reach the land of stone. The griffin reminds Sal that once Sal receives the sword of Perseus, he needs to help the griffin obtain the blood of Medusa. Sal's goal wasn't the sword nor helping the griffin. He just wanted to use the griffin to destroy this place so the Cooper family couldn't get here. The griffin opens the massive door, and inside is a stone statue of Medusa. They walk inside. Soon after, the smaller stone statues start attacking them, and Sal lets the griffin deal with them. The griffin easily destroys the stone statues, but they start reconstructing themselves and become one. Sal says the statues have the same features as the Gree sisters from mythology. He says that they share the same eye and teeth, and since they were daughters of a sea deity, they had the ability to control the seawater. While running from the flood of water, the griffin asks Sal to quickly find the sword, and he assures the griffin that he was trying to search for it. The griffin says that the whole place might collapse if they didn't end it soon. Sal says that he was looking to find an answer by reading the runes written on the wall, but in his head, this was exactly what he wanted. He had an escape tunnel that he could use to escape, but he couldn't escape yet since the place wasn't destroyed enough. Sal points at the roof and says that the runes state he has to remove the eye on the top to stop the statue from attacking them. The griffin notices the eye and quickly flies up and snatches it off the roof. The statue screams in pain and then dissolves into water. The griffin asks to quickly find the sword so they could leave. Sal says that he found the sword and points behind the Medusa statue. Sal tells the griffin that it was the same sword Perseus once used to behead Medusa, spilling both red and green blood, the red blood that could poison all living souls and the green blood that could heal all illness. Sal also says that there was another thing he forgot to mention. The emergence of the sword of Perseus is the time of Medusa's revival. The Medusa statue awakens and starts attacking them. Sal thinks that he should quickly escape and let the griffin handle Medusa. Then he runs to the escape tunnel, but he notices something behind one of the snakes whiz past him and destroy the escape tunnel. He wonders what was going on and where the griffin went. The griffin had turned small, saying that he couldn't deal with Medusa, and tells Sal to deal with her instead. While running through the room trying to figure something out, he notices an armor stand. He decides to use the shields to shield himself from Medusa's gaze. Even though he blocked it, he gets sent flying. The escape tunnel was shut, and he couldn't use the sword of Perseus since he had tried it in his last life and failed. But there was no other chance to deal with Medusa. He grabs the sword and easily lifts it. When Medusa lifts him up, he wonders why he could use the sword now and not in his last life. Some of his past memories come to him, how Alan and his mother had stolen his talents away from him. Enraged, he cuts off the snake that was grabbing him. The griffin peeks to see what's happening and sees him breaking Medusa's bind. Before Medusa could retaliate, he beheads her. He understands that he was targeted by the Cooper family just because they knew about his talents, and in his last life they succeeded. Alan's mother even erased Sal's memories to hide it from everyone. While Sal was drinking Medusa's blood, the griffin wondered what he was up to now. Sal had an eerie smile on his face while thinking about his revenge. The griffin saw enough and quietly tried to scurry away from the crazy kid. Before he could leave, Sal called him to come back. The griffin quickly returned, calling Sal, "Your lordship." Sal asked if it was true that griffin heads were as strong as metal. The griffin wondered what that meant. Sal made the griffin use its head to break through the mountain since the escape tunnel was closed. The griffin thought that he was only letting this slide because Sal was about to treat his offspring, and not because he was scared. Sal also made the griffin bless him with the griffin's regeneration blessing, and all the minor injuries started healing immediately. He then gave the griffin the vial with Medusa's blood, which he fed to the small griffin. The little griffin's wings healed, and it flew around to celebrate. Sal said that the griffin would just be a stupid bird unless it accepted someone as its master. The griffin asked what he meant. Sal said that it was just a kind-hearted piece of advice from him, since the griffin himself became strong only after accepting a master. The griffin realized that Sal was right. He wouldn't have awakened his intelligence if his master hadn't made him eat a lot of human brains daily. And since his master had died hundreds of years ago, there was no way to find someone as powerful and ruthless as his old master. But then he realized and called out to Sal, asking him to accept the griffin's child as his pet. Sal smiled, thankful that the stupid bird took the bait. He accepted, under the condition that the griffin would give him information about its old master, as well as the details about the key that could unlock the place where the Cooper family worshipped the sword's spirit bled. Back at the castle, Alan's mother shouted at the butler for not finding the reason why her son kept constantly fainting. The butler asked her not to worry since Alan had the Shadow's Oath, and those shadows would take on all the injuries if anything were to happen. She found it strange that all this started happening since the day of the Shadow Oath ceremony. The butler then informed her that Sal had obtained first place as they had expected. He then hesitantly told her that Sal had used the griffin to kill the instructors and had made the griffin's offspring his pet. Alan's mother spat her tea and hurriedly asked where Sal was. The butler said that he was waiting right outside the door. She called Sal inside and he walked in, greeting her. She asked if and why Sal had killed the instructors. Sal said that he did it for the family, since someone in an official position like them being killed by a mere 3-year-old meant they were useless, and the Cooper family didn't need trash like them. Sal asked if the madam agreed, and she just looked at him, stunned. Sal was satisfied with her expression, but she quickly hid it and told the butler to reward Sal with recuperation in the Eden Springs. Sal accepted the reward as he wanted to go to the Eden Springs himself. After Sal left, she told the butler to accelerate the research for the deprivation magic, which would be used to strip Sal's talent for her son. In the Eden Springs, while walking around, he remembered that the griffin had told him its previous master had sealed his soul under the Eden Springs. The griffin told him to swim along the undercurrents of the springs until he saw an underground cave. The griffin also warned Sal that its master could use blood magic, and no matter how weak his soul might have become, it was still hard to deal with. While Sal was thinking about how to deal with the soul, some of the other shadows came up to him and sarcastically congratulated him, calling him a monkey-like human for climbing the mountain the way he did. He remembered that these two were definitely Alan's pawns in his last life. The shadows thought he was ignoring them when they saw him not responding and attacked him. But before he was hit, he stopped the attacker's fist and broke his arm. The one in the back pulled out a knife and drove it into Sal, but Sal used the other shadow as a meat shield and asked how the shadow could attack his own friend. Sal then kicked the attacker, which made them both fall into the water, telling them to enjoy their time. He felt some kind of black magic rushing toward the wounded shadow. Just then, he heard a girl begging for help behind him. The guard who was dragging her by her hair said that she was going to be beaten up for not knowing how to serve some tea. The girl said she didn't do it on purpose and asked him to let her go. The guard tried to hit her for talking back to him, but before that, Sal cut the guard into 2 equal parts. The other shadows started running away while calling Sal a murderer. Sal offered a hand to the girl to help her up to her feet. In Andrea's perspective, Sal looked like her prince, but in Sal's eyes, she looked like a whimpering puppy, and he wondered if he had scared her. He apologized for scaring her, but she said that she wasn't scared at all. She thanked him for saving her and told him that her name was Andrea. Andrea was Sal's best friend in his previous life, and she possessed a magic talent that surpassed anyone her age. They used to get opportunities to fight together temporarily. She had also confessed her love to him during these team-ups. After standing up, she thanks Sal again. Sal blushes, remembering their previous relationship. He tells her that it was his duty to save her and asks if she knew how to drain the water in Eden Spring without touching the water. Andrea asks if Sal also noticed the strange magic. When he asks what she means, she whispers into his ear that a strange magic recovers all injuries when someone goes into the spring, and that those who use the spring can't heal with any other magic other than the spring itself. Sal realizes that it was a trick from the Cooper family to keep the shadows on a leash. Andrea says that she can show him a way to enter the spring without touching the water as thanks to him for saving her. She uses magic and calls it her own duck magic, which she created after seeing ducks dive into water without wetting the insides of their feathers. Sal laughs, as her names for magic were still as silly as ever. A bunch of guards show up looking for the murderer. Sal quickly grabs Andrea and drags her into the springs. After going in, he looks for the undercurrent of the spring. After seeing the dark magic coming from the hole, Andrea tries to stop Sal and says that they should leave the springs as soon as possible. But it's too late, they get caught in the currents, and when Sal finally awakens, he sees Andrea sitting in front of him, repeating his name and asking him to wake up. Sal reaches into his pocket and pulls out the key the old griffin gave him. When Andrea asks what it was, Sal tells her that with this key, he could open the door to the place where the Cooper family worshipped the sword spirit. But there were no doors in the cave they were in. Andrea asks Sal to give her the key and tries to summon the door. While she was summoning, Sal notices movement behind him. A bunch of carnivorous plants try to attack Andrea, and Sal quickly jumps and takes her away from them. After that, he sees the portal behind him. Andrea was unconscious after using too much magic. Sal carries Andrea and leaves her behind a bunch of stalagmites, using invisibility magic to hide her before leaving to find the sword spirit. As soon as he goes inside, he is greeted with a horrible stench and a mountain of female corpses and a monster on the top. The monster immediately notices Sal. The Eden Spring, although on the surface a medicinal hot spring, was actually a place where the Cooper family would keep all the concubines. Sal, in this moment, realizes the true fate that awaited them. They were all just nourishment for the sword demon. The demon appears in front of Sal and says that he can smell a really powerful skill. Sal quickly jumps back and wonders how the demon knew about his skill. The demon asks if the kid was Sal, the one born with the highest tier talent, but then questions why Sal doesn't look pampered at all. While charging at Sal, it asks if he was just a bastard child who came to take the demon's inheritance. Sal tells the demon that he is just there to kill it, nothing more. The demon says he expected as much from his descendant, someone crazy, just like him. After fighting for a few seconds, Sal gets slashed across the chest. The demon says that Sal is still too weak to take him on, but then notices Sal regenerating and remarks that he didn't expect that foolish griffin to give its blessing to Sal. Led Cooper had sacrificed a great amount of his power to seal his soul in this place to hide his inheritance. Sal still had a chance to win since the sealed soul was much weaker than the original. Sal summons a cross behind the demon, and it gets crucified to the cross. While it screams in pain, Sal says that there were a lot of counters created against the demon's blood magic during the 100 years it was sealed, and he just needed to take the demon's heart to forcefully receive its inheritance. The demon begs Sal to stop, but once Sal gets close enough, the demon smiles and appears at his side, mocking him. It starts pointing and laughing after resisting all the monologue Sal just gave, then gets serious and says it's done playing. The demon drops its blood to the floor, summoning minions. It acknowledges that Sal has talent, but unfortunately, not enough to earn the sword demon's inheritance. The demon says Sal should have focused on growing stronger before coming to him. After getting overwhelmed, Sal uses the holy protection that came with the sword of Perseus. The demon says it's useless and touches the barrier with one finger, shattering it into pieces. The demon grabs Sal by the neck and tells him that after a cat is done playing with a mouse, it ends by eating the mouse. Sal's magic begins getting sucked out of his body. The demon says he remembers an aura similar to Sal's. It tastes the same as one of the concubines he had eaten, and asks if it was Sal's mother. Sal feels a rush of adrenaline as soon as he hears that, just when the demon is about to eat him. He remembers his mother, who was always kind to him, but one day when he was out picking flowers for her, she abandoned him and left while apologizing. He got bullied by the other shadows, who said that his own mother had abandoned him. Sal had refused to believe it. He always said that his mother would definitely not throw him away. Now that he knows the reason why she was gone, Sal couldn't control his fury. He drives his sword into the demon's chest. Sal uses the demon's own magic to try and burn the demon, using his own blood as the medium. The demon explodes with a large amount of magic to push Sal off and quickly tries to run to find more women to consume to replenish his strength. While he tries to do so, Sal appears behind the demon, looking more like a demon himself. He pierces his sword through the demon's head and for a second sees his mother's face. Sal removes his sword from the demon's head, but the demon is still alive, thinking of a way to escape Sal. Sal drives his sword into the demon's heart once again. The demon begs Sal to stop, offering to turn into his sword spirit to enhance his swordsmanship. Sal says that the demon isn't worthy of something like that. The demon explodes. The demon's heart turns into a bloody orb for Sal to inherit. Sal drops his sword, thinking that he had almost forgotten that he was motherless from birth, that all memories of his mother were just his pathetic delusions. He calls himself a pitiful demon. He sees his mother appear in the reflection of the blood on the floor, hugging him from behind, saying that he wasn't a monster and that Mom was always by his side. Someone calls to him from behind. It was Andrea, asking if he was all right. She asks why he was covered in blood and if he was hurt. When she tries to heal him, Sal remembers that in his previous life, Andrea too met the same fate as the concubines. Sal hugs Andrea tightly and says that he won't let that tragedy repeat this time. After the disappearance of the sword spirit, it caused a huge commotion, and all the guardians in Eden Spring were sentenced to death. The guards didn't dare mess with Sal after witnessing his ruthlessness. Amidst all this, the matriarch got word that Sal was responsible for the sword spirit's disappearance, but without evidence, she could only use various indirect ways to deal with Sal. However, Sal survived all of them unscathed. 4 years later, on the Cooper training grounds, Alan beats a knight who begs for Alan's mercy. Alan boasts about his ability, and the defeated knight also gazes at Alan. The head of the Isaac family says to the head of the Cooper family that he had heard a lot about Alan being born with the highest tier swordsmanship, and that maybe the rumors were true. Just then, they hear a commotion near Sal. Sal sends a bunch of guards flying with one swing. The head of the Isaac family is impressed by Sal's talent. To have reached such high swordsmanship at such a young age was unheard of. Alan gets jealous of Sal and immediately asks him for a duel. Sal agrees without skipping a beat. The others surround them and all start cheering for Alan. Alan attacks, but Sal easily blocks and asks if the matriarch wasn't feeding Alan enough for him to be this weak, before pushing him back. Alan goes back on the offense, thinking that no one should be a match for him since his mother had told him that no one in the whole family was as strong as him. Sal simply takes a step to the side, and Alan misses completely. Sal then asks Alan to watch and learn how a real strike looks. Sal targets Alan's right eye and takes it out with a precise strike. While the guards scramble to help the crying Alan, the Duke from the Isaac family laughs, saying that he thought something was off. Now he could see that the other guards were just losing on purpose in front of Alan to make him look good. The Cooper family head asks him to stop being so rude, but the Duke says he just doesn't want his sister to marry a useless bum, and she was about to be engaged to Alan. The Cooper family head asks the Duke not to worry too much, as the royal family hadn't granted the marriage yet. The Isaac family head leaves, while reminding the Cooper head not to forget about the joint family operation that was about to take place in 10 days. The Cooper family head isn't happy with Alan for making him look bad. He asks the maid about the little shadow who beat Alan. She tells him it was Sal, one of his bastard sons, whose mother's name wasn't recorded. The head thinks it's no wonder his sword talents are this good since he is his own son. He asks the maid to bring Sal to the study room. At the study, he examines Sal but doesn't sense anything outstanding about him. He wonders if Sal is intentionally hiding his powers to steal the position of heir in the future. He then gives Sal a family heirloom sword and asks him to participate in a joint family expedition with the Isak family to retrieve the dragon egg. He tells Sal that the sword should allow him to use the teleportation device to Crystal City. Sal realizes this is just a plot from the family head to get rid of him, but he accepts the mission anyway. However, he then tells the head that he has a request. On the day of the expedition, the Shadows and a few guards made their way to the teleportation device. Andrea asked if it was all right for her to sit on the griffin while everyone else walked, even after Sal went out of his way to ask the family head to let her come along. Sal asked if the others had a problem with Andrea sitting on the griffin, and the others said they did not mind. As soon as they reached the device, the Shadows started asking where the dragon eggs were. Just then, a girl asked if the Shadows hadn't even received basic knowledge about the Crystal City before they were sent on the expedition. It was Gloria Isak, the Isak family head sister. She introduced herself to Sal and asked him to call her Gloria. Sal ignored her and asked Andrea to wait outside the teleportation device for him to come back. Sal then walked up to the center while continuing to ignore Gloria. Then he turned back and told her to activate the portal together with him before the sun set so the whole trip wouldn't be wasted. Sal was being rude to Gloria because, in his past life, she would always try to get him to train with her. He thought she was very troublesome. He drove the teleportation device along with Gloria, and they started getting teleported into the Crystal City. When Sal and Gloria walked forward to check the surroundings, one of the Isak soldiers decided he was going to kill all the Cooper soldiers and take the dragon eggs to the Isak family head himself. Then he pulled his sword out. Suddenly there was an explosion. The light sentinels, who protect the Crystal City, had appeared. Now that one of the swords was removed, everyone who entered with Sal and Gloria was considered an enemy. Gloria asked if the soldier was dumb. While killing a sentinel, the soldier said he was doing it for the family. She told him to shut up, saying she knew he did it for himself. A few sentinels attacked her while she was distracted, but they were obliterated by Sal. Sal then commanded all the other Shadows to get into formation. They quickly listened to him. Together, they created a flood of shadow magic, and Sal guided it to surround all the light sentinels. He asked if the sentinels' light was enough to overpower their shadow magic. The Isak soldiers were impressed by how well Sal took control of the situation. Even Gloria thought Sal was pretty good. He took a crystal he found among the remains of the light sentinel and went toward a pillar in the center of the room. He placed the crystal into the groove of the pillar. The whole room shook as if it were an earthquake, and the altar started descending. The soldiers all quickly climbed onto the altar. The whole party went down deep underground, into a room filled with dragon eggs. The greedy idiots all run in after seeing so many dragon eggs. Sal wonders if they were this eager for the dragon to eat them. After hearing the commotion in the nest, the dragon awakens. While the others run back to the elevator, Sal tells them to take the eggs with them while he covers the rear. When they get to the elevator, it's already going up. One of the Cooper guards stole one egg and escaped on his own. He was ordered by the family head to secure one egg and then destroy the teleportation altar, as he didn't want the Isak family to catch up to him, and it was an easy way to deal with Sal. The Shadows protest against his decision. Gloria laughs and says that the family head was ruthless for abandoning his own soldiers along with the Isak family. Sal says that he expected as much to happen. Gloria asks why Sal would rush to throw his life away if he knew this was going to happen. He says that she was thinking too far ahead. He tells her that he had no plans of dying. The dragon chases after Sal and smacks him into the ground. Gloria asks if Sal was all right. The dragon breathes fire. Gloria saves Sal, saying that he was talking all that just to be smacked into the ground. Sal asks Gloria to keep the dragon occupied while he prepares to attack its heart. He says that she was the only one who could do it, and Gloria agrees while blushing. She goes forward to show Sal that she was a gifted swordswoman. Sal just smirks. Gloria creates an opportunity for Sal to attack the dragon and asks him to attack, but Sal doesn't move. She thinks that he might have sustained injuries from the dragon's attack and is unable to attack. She thinks that everyone might die if this continues and uses her ace attack. A bunch of magical swords pierce the dragon together, and the dragon falls to the ground. The arrogant Shadows kick the dragon and mock it. Gloria breathes a sigh of relief, but the dragon suddenly opens its eyes and starts moving again. Gloria is surprised. Sal finally starts moving. He uses blood magic he got from the demon to use the dragon's blood from where Gloria had wounded it to create a bunch of blood clones. The soldiers ask how he could use blood magic. Gloria says that blood magic was a forbidden magic which only the Cooper family was allowed to use. She wonders if this had something to do with the disappearance of the sword spirit. She then realizes that Sal intentionally stood back, waiting for her to damage the dragon so he could use its blood. She asks if he just used her. Sal asks, "What if I did just use you?" He jumps at the dragon with his clones again. They manage to behead the dragon. Gloria and the shadows go to congratulate Sal, but Sal tells them not to come closer to him. He starts coughing furiously while pointing his sword at them. The sword demon is speaking in his ear, saying that Sal will become just like him, a monster that needs more flesh and blood to maintain his strength. He points at Sal's comrades and tells him that they are all his prey. Sal jumps at them, but Andrea appears and stops him. Her healing magic helps him keep the sword demon suppressed. Later, when he wakes up, Andrea says that she's glad Sal is okay. She then shows him a golden egg, saying that it was the only real egg inside. The shadows had also caught the guard who tried to run away before. Andrea says that she didn't tell Gloria about the real egg and that the Isak family left empty-handed. Sal thanks her but tells her that wasn't what he was worried about. While grabbing his sword, he thinks that the little griffin was supposed to take Andrea far away to a prearranged location, so Andrea could escape the Cooper family under the ruse that she had died in the Crystal City. He asks if the stupid griffin was incapable of following simple instructions. Andrea stops him, and the griffin says that Andrea wasn't convinced no matter what he said since she was worried about Sal. The shadows suddenly pull out their swords. Sal thinks that they were finally showing their true colors after seeing the dragon egg, but to his surprise, they kill the traitor instead. All the shadows then kneel and swear loyalty to Sal. Andrea says that the egg was about to hatch. The egg cracks and an ugly-looking dragon flies out. Sal pets the dragon and tames it. From that day, Sal started creating the rebel forces against the Cooper family. Back at the Cooper family, Alan asks when he can go play at the horse racing track. His mother says that he can play as much as he wants once his father is done with work. His father slams the report he got on the desk and asks how long Alan plans to enjoy himself and dally around. He tells Alan that Sal not only slew the dragon, but also tamed its offspring while Alan was playing around. Alan's mother defends her son and says that it was Alan's fault and that Alan would also have tamed the dragon if he had gone. She then tells Alan to forget what his father said and says that she will accompany him to the race tracks herself. After going outside, she asks if the magic to steal Sal's was progressing. The butler says that they had already succeeded in creating the magic. She says that she will definitely get rid of Sal this time.